Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into some of the most intriguing mysteries of the ancient world, from the catastrophic eruption of Vesuvius that buried Pompeii to the enigmatic Denisovans and hidden treasures of the Roman Empire. Join us as we uncover the secrets of our past. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating journeys through history. All right, let's not waste any time and travel back to ancient Rome. On October 24th, 79 AD, one of the most famous natural disasters in history occurred. The catastrophic eruption of Vesuvius that buried Pompeii, Herculaneum, and several other villages. Their story is very intriguing, but in popular culture, of course, Pompeii is the most renowned. The city was founded in the 6th century BC, and for several centuries it changed hands among the Etruscans, Samnites, and Greeks, until in 310 BC, the city pledged allegiance to Rome. Pompey would later betray and turn against Rome during the Social War, a conflict from 90-88 BC where Italians rebelled against Rome. It ended with the rebels' defeat, and Pompeii, along with other cities, lost its self-governance, becoming a direct Roman colony. This status brought luxury to the city. Being on the trade route between Rome and southern Italy, Pompeii was a place of wealth, and every Roman of status wanted a vacation home there. Nero's wife, the comedian Menander, a banker named Lucius Caecilius Jucundus, and many others lived in this city, along with numerous tourists. In a small town with a population of 20,000, there were as many as 34 brothels compared to 45 in Rome, which had a population of 1 million. So Pompeii was a city of pleasure for the wealthy. Ironically, this was because of Vesuvius. In the summer in Italy and Rome, the heat was unbearable, but in Pompeii, due to the proximity of the volcano, it was relatively cool until it finally erupted, completely destroying the city. This fact excites archaeologists because beneath the volcanic ash, you can find intact houses, jewelry, and objects from Roman life. However, one of the latest discoveries has shaken perceptions about the disaster. Traditionally depicted as follows: Vesuvius spewed a hot cloud of rocks and ash that rose 33 kilometers, releasing many times more energy than the atomic bomb explosion in Hiroshima, followed by a 2-meter-high lava flow that eventually covered the city with a 20-meter-thick layer, resulting in the deaths of 1,000 people. Bodies are often found by archaeologists in a state as if they had just died yesterday. In fact, from 2 bodies found by Valerio Amoretti and the team from the Pompei Archaeological Park, our story begins. In a house called the House of the Working Artists, they found the bodies of 2 men aged 50 years. One was killed instantly by a falling wall. The other survived the fall by hiding behind a barrel, but died when the ceiling collapsed on him. This is significant. But the 2 bodies were found under volcanic ash. This means they survived the eruption, or were rescuers or looters who arrived in Pompeii later. The twist is, analysis of the walls showed that they fell not because of the volcanic eruption, but due to an earthquake. So nature not only burned the unfortunate people of Pompeii in the volcanic eruption, but also killed the survivors with several large earthquakes. Because they knew how to build, and after the walls and ceilings fell, they knew the earthquakes severely shook the ill-fated city. The city was shaken quite well. The deaths now seem more tragic. So that we don't feel depressed, let's talk about good things like pigs. This animal was recorded in history on July 3, 2024, as the oldest image in history. On the island of Sulawesi in Indonesia, in one of the caves, they found an image at least 51,200 years old. Wait a minute. The oldest image in history was previously considered to be a frog from the Borneo cave, which is over 40,000 years old. In fact, 10 years ago, scientists were very confident that cave art was born in Europe, as before that, detailed images were only found on that continent. But now Europe is not only behind, but behind by a very large margin. In the cave on the island of Sulawesi, there is not just an image of a wild boar. According to archaeologists, there is a comic book, a hunting story involving 2 people. This is very interesting because it is one thing to leave handprints on walls or scratch geometric figures. There are many such discoveries, and many of them are much older than the Sulawesi boar. But this is abstract thinking we are talking about here. In the history of storytelling, it was believed to have been mastered by people from Europe 40,000 years ago. Now the marker has been pushed back to 51,000 years ago, and the first comic book author comes from Indonesia. Are there any discoveries in Europe that can give us a worthy answer? Of course there are. There, in July 2024, the oldest mystery of all, related to the strange extinction of European peoples 5,100 years ago, was solved. In the regions of modern France, Sweden, and Germany, at that time, people mysteriously disappeared. There were many of them in older excavations, but 5,000 years ago, something started that almost completely wiped out their population, and not in a violent way, as there were no artifacts at all to indicate conflict. It took 1,000 years for Northern Europe to recover again. Many scientists even claim that this extinction paved the way for the ancient Greeks and Romans, as the southern part of Europe did not experience such severe extinction. Of course, the reason for this was immediately linked to migration, climate change, and other political keywords. But at Dani University, they finally solved the DNA puzzle. 108 workers from 9 different cemeteries and 6 generations of Scandinavians showed without a doubt that a good old plague wiped them out. What was unusual is that the plague did not kill them quickly, as it would during the Black Death, but slowly, generation by generation, and for almost several hundred years. Why and how the plague itself changed is a mystery. Well, it is now clear where the tribes that built Stonehenge and other monuments in Europe came from. They might have been brought by the plague, and such plagues have apparently accompanied humanity since ancient times. And once again, we have contracted cancer. So let's get back on track. Let's talk about legends. They are very silly and always embellish things. Isn't that what everyone thinks when they read medieval stories of Christian pilgrims about the intricately decorated altars of the Crusaders in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, where, according to the scriptures, Jesus rose from the dead? This story suddenly caught the attention of Byzantine archaeologists, and in the 4th century, they seem to have found the cross on which Christ was crucified and the cave where he was buried. Then the mother of Emperor Constantine the Great, who would move the capital of the Roman Empire to Constantinople, built the Church of the Holy Sepulchre herself. Then came the Arab conquests and the Crusades, which would first destroy the church and then rebuild it. On July 15, 1149, the Crusaders proudly unveiled the reconstructed temple and the new high altar. The beauty of this altar continued to be written about by pilgrims from that time until the 19th century. However, after that, it was as if the altar never existed. No one knew where the altar went, what it was, or if it was there at all. This remained the case until 2024, when in July, archaeologist Amitra M. from the Israel Antiquities Authority and historian Ilya Berkovich became interested in a strange slab in one of the temple corridors. No one knew the purpose of the slab, and tourists used it to show off their low intelligence by leaving signatures. At the request of the scientists, the slab was turned over, and drumroll, on the other side was the most expensive and beautiful marble mosaic, matching the description of the Crusaders' altar. Ancient sources indicate that for many years, the altar was in the most prominent place in the temple, yet it remained unfound. A similar situation occurred with the Denisovans, a mysterious parallel branch of human evolution that vanished without a trace, leaving strong DNA evidence in modern humans. In Mongolia, China, Japan, and Vietnam, there is a lot of Denisovan DNA that cannot be explained otherwise. There is Denisovan DNA in the remains of Homo sapiens who died tens of thousands of years ago. The problem is we cannot find these Denisovans. Scientists have only found 3 teeth and a single finger bone, very little for a parallel branch of human evolution that lived for 100,000 years. The year 2024, unfortunately, did not bring us closer to solving the disappearance of Denisovan bodies, but we did find a rib bone in a Tibetan cave. The bone from a 42,000-year-old human whose DNA shows it is 100% likely Denisovan. And according to the dating, it is one of the last before their extinction. For almost 100,000 years, these people lived alongside Neanderthals and the ancestors of modern humans. And then, like the Neanderthals, they disappeared, unlike the Neanderthals who left many bones. This remains a mystery, but with this new bone, scientists hope to make progress in understanding where to look for other Denisovans. The same problem was long ago solved by scientists in Bulgaria. The country's territory was the heart of the Roman Empire, and archaeologists had long tried to find artifacts from that era. The solution is simple: you have to search in the sewers. On July 7, 2024, they found a 3-meter-tall statue of Hermes in extraordinary condition. The statue was made in the 4th century AD, and even its head has survived to this day. Why the statue ended up in the sewer can be explained simply. In the 4th century, the Romans adopted Christianity, and with their meticulous habits, they began to dispose of pagan relics. As always happens, people made a competition to see who would be more offensive to the old gods, and Bulgaria, in this competition, decided to do the elegant thing by simply throwing statues into the sewers. This is not the first discovery, and archaeologists joke that this story does not smell very good. Nevertheless, being underground usually preserves discoveries from destruction, and the very good condition of the Hermes statue is the best evidence of this. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey through history. We've explored ancient Rome, uncovered the secrets of Pompeii, delved into the mysteries of the Denisovans, and discovered hidden treasures from the past. If you enjoyed this deep dive into historical wonders and archaeological marvels, don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting explorations. Your support helps us bring more captivating stories to light. Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.